Okay, so a couple of weeks ago, I demoed how you can use InSpec to generate a habitat package of a compliance profile. And the idea is you can ship this alongside of your applications eventually. There's a blog post that went live today. Love feedback on it if you have a chance to read it and would like to talk to me about it. But one of the things it didn't support was profile inheritance. InSpec profiles can depend on other InSpec profiles. So I have an example of that. So here is my profile. It just has a single control file and an InSpec YAML. And if we look at my control file here, I've got two small little directory checks, file checks, and then I include all the controls from the Linux baseline profile, which is defined in the InSpec YAML as it depends. So I depend on it, and this is where I say to go fetch it. The prior version of the InSpec profile creator that I created for Habitat would happily package this up, ship it as a Habitat package, and then it would violate the one rule we have about Habitat packages, which are they should be static and they shouldn't change. But InSpec would look at the file and say, hey, look, you've got an InSpec YAML, you don't have any of the profiles vendored yet, and then it would go try and do it, which is bad. If it were to try and do it and succeed, we'd have inconsistency across your Habitat ring. Most of the time it failed because of permissions, because InSpec would run as hab, and the package files were owned as root, blah, blah, blah. So now when you create the profile with the CLI, it will vendor the stuff for you. So if I do an InSpec Habitat profile create of that profile I just showed you, so you can see here, we checked to make sure the profile was valid, and then we vendored the dependencies and made sure all those dependencies were readable. So if I go look at the tree on this profile now, you will see it generated the lock file, and it vendored the file that I expected, and now that will get packaged up. When InSpec runs in Habitat, it will see that everything is vendored already and won't do the running of trying to resolve those dependencies. So we'll let this run for just a minute, and then I will show you how it looks like when you actually run this Habitat package. So what it's doing now is in the studio, just like the last demo that I did, it's pulling all the dependencies it needs in order to build this thing. In the sake of time, I believe I have one already, so I will just do that. So I believe I have an Atom Lab. Yep, okay, so I can just have start this one that I built before the demo. And what this should do, this is the exact same package, just an earlier build today. So after it installs InSpec and all the dependencies, it should run InSpec and then tell us it ran successfully. And then if we go look at the JSON file it created, we should see my two controls as well as all the controls from the Linux baseline profile. So it's executing InSpec and it ran. So now I should be able to go into hab service, my profile name, var InSpec results, and look at the JSON, and that's a lot of JSON. So here's my tests, my two tests that succeeded, and then all of these are all the Linux baseline tests. You can see some of the sysctl tests that are part of the Linux baseline profile. So now you can generate a Habitat package of a single profile that depends on multiple ones, all vendored nicely and shipped as an immutable Habitat package.